Hey guys, welcome back. So our first session is with Arnav. Some of you must have seen him in the Indian ecosystem. He has been a long member of our community. He used to run a podcast called InChain, if I'm not wrong,
Yeah.
right? And now he's working with Zilliqa as a developer advocate. He's here to talk about DeFi and introduce you to the Zilliqa platform. Over to you, Arnav.
Thank you, Manav. Hi everyone. Um, yeah, great to be speaking as part of the community. I've always attended Blockchain India sessions. Um, so I hope you guys can see my screen. Um, if you can just give a thumbs up, and if you can hear me fine. Um, yeah. Okay. I'll start presenting then. I hope everyone can hear me. So the topic for today is introduction to DeFi and Zilliqa. And DeFi, as many of you might know, is is gaining a lot of traction these days, and um, that's what the whole crypto industry is hyped up about these days. But it's important to know what DeFi is about, and you don't want to get caught up in the hype. You want to understand how things are working so that you can build stuff yourself. And you can ride this wave. You can build stuff that will get used by people, which many DeFi products are getting used. The value locked in DeFi products is now more approximately around $10 billion. And this has been growing exponentially. So for this talk, I'll first talk about DeFi. What are various products out there? How do you navigate the DeFi industry? And then I'll talk about Zilliqa, an introduction to Zilliqa, and how you can get involved with Zilliqa. So this talk will be at an overview level. We have another session with Junhao, who is one of the co-founders of Zilliqa, and he'll mostly talk about on the technical overview level and how you can, like, what are some grant programs and stuff like that. So for questions as well, the technical questions you can ask me, but I think it would make more sense if you ask in that talk. In this talk, you can ask about an overview level of Zilliqa and DeFi. And yeah, I'll try to finish this in 20-25 minutes, and then we can have 5 or 10 minutes for questions. So DeFi is essentially, we are decentralizing traditional financial services. In DeFi, we have like exchange is a very common financial service. We have that aspect of things. Then we have market making. So there are market makers who provide liquidity to exchange platforms, so that people, because sometimes if say I want to buy a token, and you want to sell a token, I want to say buy 10 units of that token, and you want to sell 5 units of that token. So we don't have the liquidity, the required liquidity for this trade to complete. So market makers traditionally come into place in these scenarios, and they help to close this liquidity gap. And so we are in DeFi, we have automated market makers, which we'll just look at in just a moment. So we are decentralizing that, and then there are some lending and borrowing services, and there is fund management, basically fund management slash investment management. So in DeFi, we are these are, I would say, the main financial services that we're looking at. There might be a couple of others as well that I might miss out. That are that might actually also come in the near future. Yeah, I hope everyone can hear me fine. So what has been the major driver of DeFi? I think one of the major driver, or the most important driver, has been stable coins. So stable coins are basically crypto tokens whose value is equal to a fiat currency. So that can be, say, USD, SGD, which is Singapore dollar, euro, etc. And essentially what you do is you create, someone guarantees that they have some amount of fiat in their bank account, and you create these crypto tokens that are native to a blockchain, and then you can trade these tokens directly with other crypto assets that might be, say, Ethereum, Zilliqa, or some other crypto asset. You can trade these crypto tokens, which are basically pegged to a fiat currency. And there are two types of stable coins. One are sort of centralized stable coins, and one are decentralized stable coins. And centralized stable coins are basically run by companies, and they guarantee that the amount of money that they have in the bank account, the same amount of supply of their stable coins actually exists inside the blockchain. So an example of centralized stable coins are USDT, USDC, XSDD, and decentralized stablecoin example is DAI. So what are the advantages of stable coins, and what do they basically allow people to do? Is that they allow people to escape high volatility of crypto markets. So say you are a trader, or say you want to hold Ethereum or Bitcoin or Zilliqa or some other coin, then there's always a risk that the market does crash sometimes, and this is becoming less frequent. Like if you compare to the early days, the days in which the market crashed or pumped really hard were more because the market cap was less, and now as the market cap is increasing, the volatility would decrease. But still, if you feel that you don't want to, say, hold on to your Ethereum or Bitcoin, you can come to stable coins, and you can sit on those and not worry about the market crashing. So that's like on the trading side of things. Many traders actually use stable coins. Coming to use case side of things, they also enable people to be paid in crypto. So I know personally a lot of people who get paid in USDT or DAI. There was a talk I was watching recently in which a person who lived in Argentina, they actually prefer to get paid in DAI because the value of their local currency from the last year has fallen has become half compared to USD. So basically, they would prefer to hold USD or some other stable coin, that is pegged to a stable fiat currency. And this is also good because you can, as an employee, you don't want to hold an asset that varies and fluctuates in price 5% a day or something. So people actually do prefer to get paid in stable coins. And stable coins, due to these lending protocols that have come up, you can also actually earn interest in depositing stable coins in them. So some traders, say, might deposit a crypto asset like ZIL, Ether, or Maker or whatever, and they can get access to a stable coin, and they can use that stable coin and for trading or for whatever purpose they want to do. And then you will get some interest when they borrow from you. And so that also has been a use case of stable coins. And currently the stable coin circulation is at an all-time high with around 20 billion that are in supply currently. So the growth of stable coins has been quite exponential actually this year. And I think this would continue to happen in the near future. Now, also, as I'd mentioned before, we have exchanges, so decentralized exchanges, and we have seen rise of AMMs. AMM stands for Automated Market Maker. Essentially, it allows people to pool liquidity for some token pairs, and you can earn trading fees. So say if you are a market maker that is providing liquidity to an AMM, you can earn some trading fees. So usually market makers in crypto would market make in centralized exchanges like Binance, Coinbase, and so on, Coinbase Pro, and so on. And essentially those people would be the ones who would earn trading fees. Now with AMMs, what can happen is that everyone can pool together liquidity of some tokens, and they can earn those trading fees, which is usually around 0.3%, but it depends on which AMM you are using. And they allow the benefit of actually decentralized exchanges and AMMs in general, as well as that they allow trading for new crypto assets that are not yet listed on exchanges. So, say we have a new coin that came out, then there's in 2017-18, what used to happen was that many exchanges used to charge listing fees, and it was very difficult to get liquidity of your coin. But with AMMs and decentralized exchanges, any coin can become tradable because anyone can provide liquidity. So, say the team who, I don't know, did an ICO, or they did a fair launch, even they can lock up some liquidity. So they can lock up liquidity of their tokens. Say they had reserved 5 or 10% of their tokens, and they can lock up liquidity, and other people can then start trading, and they'll be able to buy and sell accordingly. So this is a really cool concept. And what we had in 2016-17 was 2017-18 was like dexes that were order book based. So decent, we had like Ether Delta, Fork Delta. The issue with those was that it was difficult to like pool liquidity. If you wanted to buy some amount, if someone had posted the same amount of tokens in their Ether Delta order book, then you could only buy those amount of tokens. Whereas in AMMs, you can buy any amount of tokens, because basically you have a pool of liquidity which is quite large usually. So yeah, that's an advantage of AMM. And the advantage of decentralized exchanges also is that you hold your own private keys. So you are just interacting with smart contracts that are on the blockchain. Whereas when you are on a centralized exchange, there's always a chance of the exchange getting hacked, like we saw the recent hack of KuCoin. And these hacks continue to happen. Almost like even Binance got hacked last year, or for around, I think, 7 million. So almost, yeah, it's very risky to actually store your funds on an exchange. So these decentralized exchanges also provide this benefit. And you can see these examples of decentralized exchanges. So currently the most popular decentralized exchange is Uniswap, and it is, I think, currently the number 4th largest exchange, like if you compare it to even centralized exchanges in terms of volumes. And this is a huge feat, I would say, and the growth of this has been quite exponential. In Zilliqa ecosystem specifically, we have ZilSwap, which is actually just going to launch on October 5. We have one of the co-founders of ZilSwap on a panel. So yeah, we are also working. Some of our ecosystem partners are also working on AMMs. So the third aspect of DeFi is actually lending, borrowing, and fund management. I've sort of clubbed them together. And essentially, what these allow you to lend and earn interest on your idle assets. So say you're holding a crypto token and you are a believer in that crypto token, right? You are like, okay, whatever happens, I'm not going to sell this token. I'm going to play the long game of 1 year or 2 years or whatever. You don't care about market conditions. And what you can do is you can lend those assets on a lending protocol, and you can start earning interest. So another trader might actually need your asset, and he can use that to trade and do stuff, and then he would actually deposit back his collateral. So how that works is we can go into that a bit later, but yeah, essentially this is also an important part, because when you look at traditional financial services, you have your own assets. Like say if you're holding money in your bank account, then you get interest, right? So this is also an important part of decentralizing that traditional financial ecosystem, is the ability to earn interest on your assets. Also, you can borrow another crypto asset without selling your original asset. So this is people who are on the other side of the trade. So say you are a trader, you want to borrow, say, Lend token, Aave token, then you can deposit, and you have, say, ETH, then you can deposit ETH and you can get some lend token, and maybe you saw a good arbitrage opportunity with lend token, and stuff like that. So you can use these lending protocols to do that. Currently, borrowing is over collateralized. So, say if you want to borrow $100 worth of token, you actually need to deposit $200 worth of your token. Why? This varies on various platforms. It's not, the number is not 2:1, can be 6:1 as well, and it can be lower, like it could be 1.5:1. So this this is not like a proper loan. Like if you look at the traditional financial industry, what usually happens is that people are getting under collateralized loans usually. Let's say you want to get a house loan or you want to get some car loan. You're not, say you, if you want to buy a house worth $1 million, you are not depositing $2 million, right, to get the loan for that house. But this does also, this over collateralized loans also do have use cases, but the under collateralized loans are actually also developing in crypto, the market for under collateralized loans, and there are some exciting projects that are trying to solve this problem, that say you can give loans to someone you trust, and you can put that loan agreement on the blockchain itself, so that, like, say you can go to the courts that if they don't pay you back your money. So there are some exciting projects that are coming here as well. Now, coming to fund and investment management services, they're similar to Wealthfront, or other similar services where you deposit some funds and they basically make investments on behalf of you, and they are trying to optimize your returns. So there are some interesting protocols that are doing that. So Yearn Finance is a good example of this. Essentially, you deposit, say, an asset into Yearn Finance, then they'll try to maximize the yield of the deposited asset. And essentially, what they do is they interact with other DeFi protocols that are out there, and they try to get, like, they try to interact with tokens, like protocols where they can get the maximum return. And the benefit of using these services is that, say if you want to do it yourself, first of all, you need to always keep a track of that, right? That where will you deposit your tokens, or where you'll get the best interest. Then secondly, you also need to pay gas costs. So these protocols, what they do is they essentially pool together everyone's funds, so that you don't need to, so that the gas costs are everyone, they, like, everyone's funds is like are deposited together. So that's basically, say, one transaction instead of, say, 1,000 transactions. So the gas cost is also minimized, which is quite a lot these days. So what's stopping the growth of DeFi? The major one, as with many blockchain applications, is high transaction fees and scalability. So you can see this graph, the transaction fees as percentage of total volume is growing exponentially, and there is, if people continue to use these protocols, this would continue to happen. Like, the growth will will keep on happening, and the transaction fees revenue of miners will increase. And Ethereum right now has sort of become like a whale chain. It's that large players who are playing, these big games, minimum 10, like hundreds of thousands of dollars. Only they are able to participate in DeFi, because only those people, it makes sense for those people to participate in these games, because the gas costs are so high. So say you are a person who is putting in a couple $1,000, then the money that you'll make might actually, you'll just be able to break even with the gas costs that are currently existing in Ethereum. And secondly, it's a smart contract safety risk. So this is also, again, which is it's a risk that has existed for some time now, and still I don't see an end to this. Highly recommend people to, become auditors, or because there's a lot of need of smart contract auditors. Um, and even recently, we had a hack with EMN token, which was developed by someone from Wi-Fi, and that I think around 17 million were stolen. And then we had a um, BZRX hack. Twice they were hacked, and throughout the history, we have had the DAO hack, the parity hack, very very large hacks because of smart contract security, safety risk, and there are some standards that are coming. This is improving, but still, there's a lot of work that needs to be done here. Third one I would say would be complicated UX. This is not much this is not a difficult problem to solve, and I think even now, like, some DeFi protocols have a better UX than many of their centralized counterparts. Like, trading on a AMM is looks easier than trading on an order book exchange, and but still, like, if you want to use these lending services, it's still a bit intimidating, I would say. Like, for crypto native people, it's fine, but for um normal people who are just coming into the crypto industry, there's issues with key management. Then they don't you need to do proper education, try to educate them, how are things different from the traditional financial world and things like that. So yeah, that's also, I would say, another aspect that's stopping the growth of DeFi. So this concludes our DeFi section. Now I'll come to the other Zilliqa part, and yeah, I'll try to answer some of the questions that people have asked already. So, is it legal to get paid in stable coins in India? um I wouldn't say it's illegal, right? It's like, the legality is, I'm not sure about it, to be honest. There's no law around it, but there's no law that says it's illegal, right? um so things will become clearer, I suppose, in India with time. And I think like there are no, like, about stablecoin payment and stuff. I wouldn't think many countries have laws around it. Like, um I don't think any countries has law around it. Maybe a crypto friendly nation like Estonia or Malta or something might have some law, but usually, um yeah, usually it's not that, uh, yeah, it's not clear. But people are getting paid. It's not illegal. So since there isn't a law, if you get paid, you you're not doing anything illegal as such. um yeah, okay, so I'll come to more questions maybe later on then. um let's see, let's move on to Zilliqa's slide then. So Zilliqa, the high security, high performance blockchain platform, it was co-founded in 2017 by computer scientists and entrepreneurs at NUS, which is National University of Singapore. And Zilliqa is basically, we have two main selling points, which is the secure sharded architecture. So Zilliqa was, I believe, the first blockchain to implement sharding, and Ethereum now is also looking at, with ETH 2.0, trying to implement sharding. And we have Scilla, which is a smart contract language that is safe by design, and it allows for formal verification. Um, and this was the time frame of Zilliqa. So we had in 2017, Zilliqa Research was born, Q3, and the Zilliqa mainnet actually just launched in 2019, Q1. So it's still early days, I would say. Like, compared to Ethereum, obviously now the ecosystem has grown. We have more than around 70 projects or 100 projects, I don't know, that are building on Zilliqa. And the above features make Zilliqa highly secure, fast, and scalable smart contract platform. And as I'd mentioned in the previous slide, right, like, what's the major issue? The first one is high transaction fees and scalability, and the second one is smart contract safety. So yeah, we do solve those issues. Yeah. Zilliqa is committed to building an efficient, secure, and interoperable platform, and we are focusing quite a lot in APAC region, um, which is like Asia Pacific region, and we do partner up with many fintech applications, and that we expect the highest form of regulatory compliance, and most of our projects are also around these regions. That's why we are looking at India as well right now. We have actually many team members in India, and we are looking to partner with more projects in India as well. Just a brief on how Zilliqa compares with other chains. So, as I mentioned, the mainnet was launched in 2019. Then the consensus is proof of work plus PBFT, and it's an interesting consensus mechanism um, because basically proof of work, Zilliqa doesn't do proof of work for like every block. Like basically uh, we have a DS blocks, and then we have some micro blocks that come. So it's a sharded blockchain. So we have multiple sort of parallel chains that are doing computations, and each of those chains are producing their own blocks. And we have one DS block that is produced by after 100 like blocks, like or something around that time. And then when that block is produced, then proof of work happens. For producing blocks for basically the sharded chains, we use PBFT, where you don't need to do mining. It's basically the nodes, they sign a transaction, and then they broadcast it to other nodes in the network, and you need to have 2/3 majority of the nodes need to if 2/3 majority is reached, then the block is confirmed. So and Junhao will talk more about this. If you have any questions around Zilliqa's architecture and stuff, Junhao will most probably cover this in his talk as well. So also Zilliqa's transaction throughput is around 2800 DPS, and the important point is that you can have a transaction throughput of a very high transaction throughput, 30K or I don't know 100K. But the important point is to maintain decentralization and security of the chain. So Zilliqa maintains that. We have been live for so much, like now almost 2 years, and many applications are building on it, and we haven't faced any issues. So many of the chains that actually do claim sometimes to be of very high throughput capacity, the issue with them is they are centralized, or they aren't as decentralized and secure. Also, transaction finality in Zilliqa is instant. So for Bitcoin, for example, you need to sort of wait usually around 3 block confirmations. That's usually the advice time that people tell to wait for Bitcoin transactions. With Zilliqa, it's instant because of the consensus algorithm. What essentially happens in PBFT is that the nodes are signing transactions, right? They are approving a block. In Bitcoin, what happens is someone proposes a block, and then others, start building on top of the block. It's not like it can happen that it's not like everyone is coming to consensus. Like not everyone is approving of that block. You can say that. So that's the difference. So if in Zilliqa your transaction gets added to the chain, then you don't need to wait for any block confirmations. That's just how PBFT works. And even in Ethereum, you need to usually wait for certain Ethereum confirmations, because there's a chance that your transaction might get rolled up another because that's just how proof of work works. So our approach towards open and decentralized financial adoption. So we have obviously our high throughput scalable blockchain and our safe by design smart contract language, and then many ecosystem partners in the Zilliqa ecosystem. And we have Zilhive and Zillacracy. So Zilhive is actually a grant program, and Zillacracy is a community-driven initiative run by Zilliqa community members, and we have many open finance products. We have Edgy Exchange, which is a security token exchange, and Xverse, which is a stablecoin, Singapore's stablecoin. Basically, XSDD is the Singapore dollar, and XSDD is the Singapore dollar stablecoin. That is run by Xverse, which is a quite prominent company in the Asian region. Yeah. Zilliqa decentralized finance platform. You can see that the goal of DeFi, as I mentioned, we want to have more financial inclusion as well. So DeFi and OpFi, both of them are important. So OpFi is basically, it's different from DeFi in the sense that it's tied to the current financial ecosystem, in which people promote that banks and other financial players, they become more open and transparent, and they share data and stuff with them. And DeFi is, all that's decentralized things that are happening. So we need both of these things to come together, at least for now, where the current financial ecosystem is larger. Maybe, as is our hope, is that crypto, takes over the current financial ecosystem. That's about we have we aim for financial inclusion. So OpFi, actually, I would say, is more geared to handle financial inclusion and target underbanked and unbanked populations. You can give with OpFi, what you plan to do is give sort of like bank accounts or some wallets to people who can't afford to open a bank account, or they live in an area where it's there aren't not many banks, and running the whole banking infrastructure is very expensive. And basically, the whole the plan is to have a modular platform and modular network of financial products that can be used by others easily, and is transparent as well. So I'd already talked about Zilliqa's scalability, and it's linearly scalable. So as the number of nodes in the network increases, basically you have the increase of the transaction throughput. That's how the Zilliqa sharding architecture works. Also, Scilla, as I'd mentioned before, is a safe by design, human readable contract language, and it's designed by researchers from NUS and top academicians. And it's actually very safe. It's very difficult to write buggy code in Scilla. The language is defined in such a way that you can it's difficult for you to write buggy code, and you can formally verify your code as well. And actually, we just released a Scilla development course, and you can check out, you can join our groups and stuff, which I'm sure Madhav will share as well. You can join our developer groups and see what's happening in the ecosystem, and learn about Scilla and stuff. And this is an overview of our ecosystem partners of Zilliqa. So we have Switcheo, which is a Singapore-based DEX company. Switcheo Network that's also they have their own token and stuff, and they basically are the developers behind Zilswap, which is the AMM DEX built on Zilliqa. And then, as I mentioned before, about Xverse, is a leading Southeast Asian payment solutions provider, and they have over 10 million active monthly users and 200 million monthly transaction volume. And they are basically the people who are behind XSTD. We also have a bridge for BUSD that is going to go live. Essentially, on Zilswap, you'll be able to trade Zil and some tokens with XSTD and some other token pairs, but the XSTD would be the only stablecoin right now. But we'll have some USD tokens as well that are going to launch soon. And then we have Edgy Exchange, which is a security tokenization. So security tokens are also touted to become, really popular or actually gain adoption, essentially putting securities on the blockchain, and um, basically allow normal people, say someone who is in India, to buy shares in a company that is outside, and gain access to the liquidity pool of blockchains. And yeah, so that's we have a partnership with Edgy Exchange. And this is our roadmap for 2020. Obviously, there are some projects which won't be here, which I would have missed. But yeah, we have already staking is live on Zilliqa. Then layer 2 and cross-chain communication is being worked on. And for Scylla, we are working on some formal verification tools as well to make it very simple for people to do formal verification. And for usability projects, we have a developer portal that actually launched, and you can start building Scylla dApps very easily using IDE. So developing on Zilliqa is actually very straightforward. It's very similar to developing on Ethereum. Yeah. And these are some example dApps. So Unstoppable Domains is an example dApp that's built using Scylla. Essentially, that they have .crypto and .zil domains. These are uncensorable domains, and how these work, that's another topic of discussion. But they are becoming really popular. Like, say, if an example that a use case that they are being used for is, like, say, if I want to receive funds, what I can do is I can link my wallet addresses to some human readable names, so like arnavvora.zil, and then you can, instead of sending those 0x complex blockchain address, I'll just share my name arnavvora.zil, and someone would be able to send funds to me. That's what they are being used for right now. But unstoppable domains are, yeah, they might become really popular with even domain names, to have blockchain domain names. And we have seen some projects that are already working on this, and this is also a growing area. Mintable, which is a NFT ecosystem, it's an NFT marketplace where you can buy and sell digital NFTs. NFT stands for non-fungible tokens, and they are also becoming really popular these days. And on Zilliqa, you can go to mintable.app and try to buy or sell some interesting art or some cards and stuff like that. There you can even do some gifts or some multimedia stuff. And obviously talked about Zilswap, and these are some major ones. Obviously, multiple other projects like Taurus, Fortmatic, and stuff that have integrated with Zilliqa. So we have a very large, vibrant ecosystem. And Junhao will actually talk more about this in his talk. And Zilhive is the accelerator program of Zilliqa. We have 3 arms: education, grants, and accelerator. So the accelerator is in partnership with Tribe, accelerator in Singapore, which is one of the most prominent ones in Singapore. And for grants, we do grants for projects who are planning to build something on Zilliqa, or in general as well. If you are working on something interesting, we're open for grants and bounties and stuff. So that's about it from my side. If you have any questions, I'll be happy to answer. Otherwise, we can move on to the next one. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, you can check out this introductory course. See that many of the questions have been answered. So is the TPS of Zilliqa very high because of not validating every block of work? No, I wouldn't say so. It's just that we use sharding, right? So you can do parallel processing. So instead of having all the blocks working on one set of block, you can have, say, divide the network into multiple small chains, so that so that they can all work on their own blocks, and then you can combine that throughput. So that's, yeah, that's the main reason. Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, I'll be in the chat if you want to ask any questions, and yeah, I'll answer those questions. So what is Zilliqa used for? Yeah, it's just a blockchain, so you can write like smart contracts on Zilliqa, and you can build DeFi products, or in general run dApps. Yeah, whatever, like you can do some supply chain stuff. I don't know, stable coins. Then you can use the blockchain as an immutable database as well if you want. It's very cheap to use Zilliqa actually, in terms of transaction fees. Yeah. Cool. I think we are running out of time for the next session, and I'll yeah, just if you want to join our communities, I think you can join our Telegram communities and our Discord. We have a Discord group as well, so you can ask some of those questions there as well.